Hello, Sag. Welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot and welcome to your cards in astrology for March. Thanks for being so patient this month, guys. I tried to get so many readings out, but for some reason there was delays on these last 4, and then I was helping a friend move, and as I stated in the Pisces, it just feels like maybe things have just evolved or happened for these particular signs, which was very pertinent to understand the rest of the reading. So, hopefully that's true. That's kind of the message that's coming through for me. I think it's important, and it's just a really good example of what March is going to be like and what Pisces season is generally like, is that you're going to have to go with the flow this month. There is a reason for everything. The veil is very thin in Pisces season. We're ending cycles. Things are happening behind the scenes. It's a very metaphysical time. There's a lot of healing going on in our dreams and when we sleep. And so even though there's not a whole lot of outward activity, right? Pisces season is generally pretty soft and sleepy. There's a lot going on within, and there's a lot of changes, and some of us just might feel different. Not a lot of explanation, not a big story behind it. You just suddenly feel different. And it's really important to be able to release this month. It's very, very critical to the flow of, the next few years. Your ability to release the things that aren't simply just not meant for you. And this is kind of, the sweeping out before Aries season, which is really just a couple weeks away. And this particular Aries season is going to take off like a rocket. I think April, May, June, really the rest of the year is going to feel pretty chaotic. Now, I urge you to really enjoy what you can from the Pisces season. So if there is an invitation to rest, to enjoy, to be more social, to just simply spend more time with the people that you love, do the things that you love. Try to do that as much as you can this month. It is really important because we also have this Mars in Gemini, which is in your 7th house. And I feel like if you don't deal with the things now, and if you don't make your rest and your mental clarity a priority, things can get really chaotic. Your 7th house is a house of partnerships. And things have to be dealt with. I'm looking at these cards. And your element this month is that of water. And your overall energy is the Page of Swords. Again, very relevant to Pisces season. You have all this emphasis on your 4th house, including a new moon on the 13th. And so there's a lot of reframing, and there might be a lot of stirring of emotions this month. And for some reason, because it's a Page of Swords, it's not like a good kind of stirring. It's more like fears or agitation or just not wanting to deal with things. Maybe there's a little bit of procrastination here. Maybe there's almost a avoiding certain conversations, avoiding certain situations because you just don't really want to deal with it right now. Because the Page of Swords is here, there's such a curiosity with him, and yet it's very immature. And I think the universe is asking you to deal with the emotional stuff. And Sag is over here like, yeah, maybe next week. I'm busy doing this, or I'm going to do that, or, and it just seems very avoidant of the bigger things. Now, what I get from this first row of cards is very, very uncomfortable energy. And I'm picking up a very clear story here. For some of my Sages, I think that you may be dealing with a King of Swords character. This is obviously a air sign of some kind, Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. Maybe not necessarily. Maybe there's just a level, I don't know. I mean, usually I like a King of Swords, right? Super intelligent, super responsible. The King of Swords just has a plan and things flow and he's in control. You know, he's not needy, he's not clingy in any way. But this particular King of Swords to me feels very much like a dictator in your life. And I'm just looking at this Hermit card, which I'm picking up as your energy, and this tiny, fragile woman who's kind of cloaked heavily, carrying a lot of heavy stuff. And it's almost as if she's trying to not be seen. And then we have this Eight of Swords, which is a woman in a veil surrounded by swords. Again, another indication of not wanting to be seen or heard. There is something about this King of Swords that's very irritating. And it's almost like one of those people where you could have the emotional conversations. You could say, yeah, but like when this happens or when you do this, it makes me feel like this. And, you know, like in most cases, you could have that adult conversation and fix things. But when it comes to a King of Swords, he's not the best listener. This King of Swords seems to be on a mission. He seems to be probably a little bit selfish, self-focused, which is fine. But there seems to be an arrogance with it, just assuming that whatever he wants to do or whatever is on his agenda at this time is just simply the way that you're going to follow. And I do get this woman feeling very behind the King of Swords, almost in some ways feeling like a victim of their circumstances. And maybe the victim, you know, maybe the circumstances are they are their own victim of their arrogance. You know, sometimes a King of Swords can be super emotionally detached from everything and everyone. And so they're out there kind of conquering the world, assuming that regardless of how they treat you, you'll sort of always be there. And I say that because this Eight of Swords is so annoying to me. This Eight of Swords that comes out directly underneath this Page of Swords is a self-imposed prison. You feeling stuck. Now, the truth is, the Eight of Swords is always self-imposed. It's not actual reality. And because we have Neptune in the fourth house, really being lit up, it might bring up old wounds, maybe old occasions in which you felt this type of situation, and you might feel a little paralyzed with fear. Oh my God, I have to break up. I'm going to go through this whole breakup thing, like, you know, especially if you live together, and then there's like the whole awkward moving thing, and of course, nobody really wants to deal with that. But I think you know that for your personal growth and advancement, you simply cannot stay here either. The universe is going to keep pushing you. He's going to keep pushing you to have the conversation and to the things. You know, you cannot resist the growth. And I look underneath this King of Swords, and I see this Justice card. Full moon in Sag. Look at the bigger picture. So that's a card of a full moon in your sign, meaning something big comes to an end. And because he's right next to this King of Swords and there's a Justice card, you need to understand that avoiding the ending is also cutting this person's experience or destiny kind of short, okay? There's lessons that are being learned here. When we have the Justice card, there's always life lessons. Now, sometimes you come into people's lives, it's not meant to last forever, but you are meant to learn so much from each other. These are always these really profound relationships that maybe don't last so long, and yet you are not the same afterwards, right? You've learned pretty profound things. You've changed yourself. You've changed your values. And there seems to be an assignment that you have with this person in order to help them rebalance their life. You know, I say this a lot. I have these conversations, especially with my water signs, that we have to learn to let go. You cannot continue to tolerate being mistreated or bad behavior or lying or deceit. Now, I don't see any of that here. I don't see cheating or anything like that. I really just see it like a really annoying arrogance mostly. But when this Justice card comes up, it is a reminder that the longer that you go without kind of delivering the blow that you're supposed to, like you are supposed to tell somebody, you can't treat me that way, or I am not happy, because it's part of their evolution. And in the grand scheme of things, what you are doing by avoiding the issue or not being honest and just taking the easier road, this Page of Cups, look, the honesty is there's not that much love there. I don't think that you love this person as maybe as deeply as they love you, or, you know, I mean, I always look at this Page of Cups and there's a fish in the cup. There's something fishy being offered. And you may find yourself just trying to quickly appease this person or avoid this person instead of being honest and truthful. Water element. And this situation might become a little bit annoying. Now, right next to this Justice card, I find a deeper meaning and personal growth amid the discomfort. And that's exactly what this is going to be. This situation is going to continue to get more and more uncomfortable. And the more uncomfortable it becomes, the more you're going to get into this Eight of Swords. Oh my God, I can't take this anymore. I just have to break out of this situation. And you have to be really careful here because it's a very karmic time. No joke. We are planting seeds that are going to last a very long time. And it's really important for you to be in a really positive mindset. All of this energy in your fourth house, your seventh house, Mars trining Saturn in your third, like now it's all about what you need and what you want, and it's okay. Whatever it is, whatever you need, maybe you need more emotional support in a relationship, maybe you need a better friendship, maybe you need better sex. Well, I don't care what the needs are, they're not being met here, and it needs to be communicated. And as well, you have to understand that if you are just avoiding or ghosting somebody in a way, you are being a little bit emotionally manipulative as well. I see that here with the Alchemist, which is the Magician card. Page of Coins. No, I'm sorry, that's not the Magician card, that's the Temperance card. And you just seem to be wanting to put off the inevitable. You know, the Temperance, the Alchemist is waiting for the situation to get ripe, waiting for the situation, like waiting for the perfect time. But the longer that you wait, the more this stuff builds inside. You see, it's just kind of like a process kind of unfolding. Now, King of Swords, Justice, and the Death card. This means that this has to end in order for this person to change their ways and transform. Again, an integral part of this person's growth. I find deeper meaning and personal growth amid the discomfort. You are meant to make this person uncomfortable. You are meant to say the things. If this person, you know, and maybe this isn't a loved one, maybe this is a boss or a business partner, and it's time to be like, dude, like I'm not doing it your way anymore. Maybe there's some things they're doing that just isn't right. Maybe it just doesn't agree with you. Maybe they're just unkind or inconsiderate, and it really kind of grinds your more ethical or moral place. But see, the more this goes on, the more you turn into the Emperor. And the Emperor is a far cry from the Hermit and the Eight of Swords. Like, these people are stuck. The Hermit is hiding from something, and the Eight of Swords is literally in jail. Very stagnant cards. The Emperor is somebody who's been through that, experienced that, and gains the will and the knowledge to move forward. Emperor here, coinciding with the Sun and Venus, moving into your 5th house in Aries, and getting ready to make a conjunction with Chiron. This is healing within your dating life, within, healing cycles of who you date and the role that you play within this relationships. And I don't think this is the first one. Okay, I don't think this is really your first King of Swords. Sag is very passionate and fiery and super optimistic, and you look at people and you just fall in love with all of these qualities, and you find yourself wrapped up, and then all of a sudden you start to see who they really are. And you're like, whoa, man, I don't like this. I don't like the way this feels. I don't like this. And this is why people say Sagittarius have a hard time with commitment. Well, no. It's not that they have a hard time with commitment. It's that sometimes they tend to jump into things before they realize the whole picture. Look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sag. It's time to stop this cycle of becoming small for people that you work with or people that you're in relationships with in order to make them easier, in order to avoid the emotional, dramatic scenes. The Emperor does what's best for him because he knows that when he does what's best for him, he does what's best for the greater good of all. So the Emperor is always that person that takes control, and that's exactly what's being asked of you. Now, what I need you to understand, and what's so important, is that this is such a waste of time. Because like I said, Pisces season, we're planting seeds. They're really big. They're super important. It's really important to start tuning in and tapping into your dreams, Sag. This isn't the relationship that you want forever. So what is? And it's okay to ask for the really big things. It's okay to ask for a lot of things. I want a partner who is emotionally supportive. I want a partner who is good to my family. 100 million different reasons, and you could have whatever you want. But when you start making your intentions clear to the universe, the alchemist, and you have faith that what you want, what you truly need, what your emotional needs and wants are, will come to you. Because this Queen of Swords in the bottom, if you allow this to go on all month, and honestly, once that new moon hits on the 13th, this is all going to need to be taken care of. If it's not, it's going to get really, really heavy. And if it gets really, really heavy and you start getting into this Emperor mode, this overbearing, I said no, I've had enough, things can really get kind of mean. And here you are, Queen of Swords in reverse. Now, I think this is ultimately the obvious disconnection between the two of you. Queen of Swords in reverse, obviously meaning that you're leaving. You're waiting for the right time to walk away from this. And if you don't have compassion and you avoid it for too long, it's going to blow up. And I don't think that you really want that. I don't think you want that negativity in your life. I don't think you want those memories. I don't think you want to have to deal with that trauma. And you certainly don't want to look out of control. And the Queen of Swords at times can be a little bit out of control. Like her mouth, her words are very sharp, and it could, it's easy to be avoided if you just deal with the emotional situation at hand. And just keep that in mind. And again, with the water element sensing, card number 4, your 4th house, the universe is saying that you should walk away from this. You should teach this person a lesson. You're learning a lesson. It's all for the greater good. Let it go. And yet use some compassion. You know, if you don't let the situation build to the point of not being able to take it anymore, then you don't have to be so abrasive when you give the person the news that you're leaving. You know, there's a gentler, softer, more compassionate way. And look, this person is not, I don't think they're a terrible person. A little overbearing, a little emotionally unattached, a little bit selfish and arrogant, yes. A terrible person, probably not. And it might be your assignment to kind of knock their ego down a little bit, to make them look at the softer side, maybe force them to get into their emotional stuff. But the surprising thing about all of that is that you're in a really lucky time. I look at this card next to the Alchemist, Inner Temple. Devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. And this is an invitation. This is an invitation from the universe. And it's time for you to start to feel what you need, to start to ask for the things that you need, and to understand, you know, when I see Inner Temple, it's like the self-respect and the love for self. And anybody that feels truly devoted to self, like in full self-respect mode. It takes healing, it takes forgiveness, it takes compassion, it takes a lot of hard work. And when you get there, you know how much you put into it, and so you don't give it away. You don't settle for, you know, King of Swords situations. You don't settle for 8 of Swords situations, and you certainly don't have to get into this hermit mode anymore. And I think Pisces season is a really good time to start listening to your heart, to allow yourself to soften, to be in softer places. You know, this King of Swords and this Queen of Swords, maybe it's just not a soft place for you anymore. And maybe, you know, maybe even some of you are going to move out and move back home, or move in with a friend, or just be in a softer environment. Maybe leaving somebody behind is going to open you up to seeing old friends, or being with loved ones again, having more time to devote to those things that give back in your life. And I think it's going to pay in dividends. And underneath this, you got 2 cards. We have the Rabbit Spirit, now is a lucky time, and Lizard Spirit, dream the world into being, all coming out right next to this Alchemist. And your warning is a Queen of Swords in reverse. A Queen of Swords in reverse can be negative in their thoughts. And so you want to be so careful. Don't focus on the losses. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself for sticking up for yourself, getting yourself out of this situation, and putting yourself into a softer environment. Because you've done what was good for you. Because you put yourself first. Because you valued yourself and your needs. The universe will give back. It's a lucky time. Get yourself out of this situation so that you don't have to focus on the things that you don't want anymore. Now is the time for the contrast. Now is the time for the good stuff. You've had enough of the bad. You've had enough of shrinking yourself. When we move to the end of this month, and you have a beautiful full moon in Libra in the 11th house, there could be some really lucky meetings. There could be some right place, right time breakthroughs that maybe you wouldn't have the opportunity to take advantage of if you were still here in this 8 of Swords, stuck, you know, just feeling stuck. There's a freedom coming your way, and because you get that freedom, the good stuff starts to flow in. All right, Sag, I'm going to leave it there. Very positive reading, a lot of growth, and it actually feels really good. It feels like you are going to feel an immense sense of relief this month and really start to focus on yourself. It's really beautiful. I do hope that you guys have a wonderful month. I'll be back in some capacity for mid-month readings. I'll try to do the lunations. And otherwise, I will see you again for your April reading. I hope you have a wonderful month. Love you all. Bye.